Hey, Facebook Live, Forward Focus 21, YouTube. Welcome to day 4 of Forward Focus 21. 21 days to set focus and propel you into destiny. Let me share this, you guys. Tag some folks. And let's get started. Great morning, everyone. I'm super excited you guys are here. Glad that you've chosen to be a part of this journey. And what an amazing journey it is and it has been. I don't think words can explain how amazing this journey has been and the kinds of things that have happened already on the journey. So I'm going to share some things with you today as we talk about day 4. And day 4 is all about people. Come on, somebody. People. We're talking about people. And so as we talk about people, I just want you guys to know that, there will be those that you must let go of in order to get to your destiny. And the $1 million question is, are you willing to do that so that do you want your destiny so desperately that you're willing to let go of anything and anyone who is interfering with your ability to get there? You've got to make that determination. You've got to make that decision. So it's day 4, and I'm just blown away by how things have moved so far. First of all, let me talk about this for a second. As you're going through this fast, we're now on day 4. You're probably experiencing some symptoms of detox. Right? Detox is if you're fasting a particular food or foods or, meat or, whatever, sugar, your body goes through kind of some withdrawals. And during the withdrawal, you may find yourself irritable. You may find yourself bloated. You may find yourself frustrated. You may find yourself fatigued. All of that is a part of detoxing. When you detox and those bad toxins are coming out of your system, you got to make sure that you get plenty of water in your system so that you're flushing the toxins out. You want to go to the bathroom more, number 1 and number 2. You want that because it means that the bad stuff that's in your body is coming out. You're releasing it. And in the same way that we have to release toxins, we have to release people. The same way that we have to release toxins, we have to release people. And the funny thing is, when we release people, we go through detox as well. I mean, we go through feeling some type of way. We may be sad. We may be tired and kind of depressed. And, because we don't want to let relationships go and we don't want to let people go. But everybody can't go where you're going. They cannot. And if you try to take them, you can kill them trying to take them where you're supposed to go because they were not built for it. So let's talk about the scripture for today. Day 4. We are in the book of Jonah. Who knows about that whole throwing people overboard, removing people from your life? Like Noah knows, because he was the one that got removed, but he understood that he had to be removed. And so as we read these scriptures, I want you to imagine yourself both as the sailors and as Jonah, because they give you 2 different perspectives of the same scenario, but the end result is the same. Jonah must go overboard. So in Jonah chapter 1, we're going to be reading verses 7 through 15. So this is kind of a lot, so bear with me. Day 4, people, everyone can't go where you're going. Then the crew cast lots to see which of them had offended the gods and caused the terrible storm. When they did this, the lots identified Jonah as the culprit. Why has this awful storm come down on us? They demanded. Who are you? What is your line of work? What country are you from? What is your nationality? They did a whole interrogation of Jonah, you guys. Jonah answered, I'm a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the land. Well, hold on now. You worship the God that made the sea and the land, and we got a whole storm. You might be the reason, for real, okay? That might be my confirmation. The sailors were terrified when they heard this, for he had already told them he was running away from the Lord. So you want to come get on our boat, mess us up. Oh, why did you do it? They groaned. And since the storm was getting worse all the time, they asked him, what should we do to you to stop this storm? They asked him, ball in your court, what do we need to do to you to stop this storm that we in right now? Throw me into the sea, Jonah said, and it will become calm again. I know that this terrible storm is all my fault. Y'all know, some of y'all are the reason that people are going through storms. Come on. You ought to feel bad about that, and you need to move yourself. Okay? Instead, the sailors rowed even harder to get the ship to land. They didn't want to throw him over. They were doing everything in their power to keep him on the boat. Can y'all relate? You're doing everything in your power to stay in a relationship, everything in your power to make it work. But it seems like nothing's helping. Then they cried out to the Lord, Jonah's God. "Oh Lord," they replied, or they pleaded, "don't make us die for this man's sins, and don't hold us responsible for his death. Oh Lord, you have sent this storm upon him for your own good reasons." Then the sailors picked Jonah up and threw him into the raging sea, and the storm stopped at once. Jonah 1, verses 7 through 15. Listen, y'all. Everyone can't go where you're going. And the truth of the matter is that sometimes when people are in storms, there's a reason that God has them in that storm. And what we do when we try to interfere with that is we prevent God's work from happening because we get in the way. Well, God is not going to let his work be prevented from happening. And so what happens is you begin to experience a storm that was not your storm. Have you ever had somebody that, like, they always have something going on in their life? Always. There's always drama. There's always something going on. And you try to help them, and you try to help them, and you try to help them, and then things backfire on you. And you end up being negatively impacted by trying to help them when it wasn't your storm. But you decided that you were going to get in their storm with them to help them when God really needed them to go through the storm so that they could be humbled, so that they could develop a new level of humility, so that pride could be removed, so that he could speak to them, so that he could redirect their path, change their path, guide their footsteps. But you got in the way. Now you're experiencing a whole storm that you were never created to experience because it was not your storm. The storm the sailors found themselves in, that was not their storm. That was Jonah's storm. But because Jonah was on their boat, they had to go through the storm too. So they finally got to the point where they said, what do we need to do? We tried to get to the other side. We tried to get to the other side, and we rowed as hard as we could, and it didn't make a difference. So what do we need to do, Jonah? Since you're the reason we're in the storm, what do we need to do to get out of it? Well, today, if you ask someone who's the reason that you're in a storm, what you need to do in order to stop the storm, they might not tell you. Now, that's just being real because they want company in the storm. But what I'm telling you is, why do you need to wait for them to tell you what to do? You need to seek the one who makes all things work together for our good. What do I need to do? Throw them overboard. Seems harsh, sounds harsh, but it's real. And so when you get to the point where you understand that it's not even just for you, it's for them too. Sometimes two people can't get to where God desires them to be together. One is going over here, one is going over here, okay? It's not a bad thing. It just means that you guys have to part ways. Y'all, listen, the sooner we begin to accept that sometimes we got to part ways with people, sometimes we got to let them go on their path and we have to go on our path. The sooner we get that, the sooner we can truly plug into our destiny and remove barriers, blocks, and unnecessary storms that were not created for us. And we can prevent other people from going through our storms that were not created for them. See, the storm you can survive, someone else might not be able to survive. See, when Jonah was tossed over, there was a fish waiting to swallow him, protect him, and get him to where he needed to be. But what if the sailors hadn't thrown him overboard and the storm was raging and it broke the boat up and they ended up drowning while Jonah still got swallowed by a fish and got taken to his destination? Are you willing to lose your life because you failed to throw over who needs to be thrown over? Are you willing to cost someone else their life because you've caused their ship to be destroyed in the middle of a storm? I'm not. You know, one of the things that I had to really come to grips with, you guys, and I'm just sharing with you guys because I think it's very important that we be honest. I had to come to grips with everybody can't take my journey. And so sometimes people have to go. You have to go, and it's okay. You have to go because of whatever, but you have to go. And I'm not mad at you because you have to go. I've learned to release people and to let people go. I've learned to understand that there are seasons that people are to be in our lives. Not everyone is going to be in our life for the rest of our life the way that they are right now. Sometimes there are seasons that you are in each other's lives where you're like this, right? And it's necessary. You need each other. There are things that God is doing in you and through you. But when the time comes for there to be a separation, allow the separation to occur and don't be mad about it. Accept it for what it is. It is God's way of shifting you both so that you can both get to the destiny that he ordained for each of you separately. And it's not bad. Today, as you think about who do you need to throw overboard? Or who do you need to walk away from because they need to throw you overboard, but they're unwilling to do it? $1,000,000 questions that you may not want to honestly answer, but if you do honestly answer them, they'll give you a deeper understanding. Now, for me, it's really interesting. I really don't have people I need to throw overboard at this point in my life. I've got some things where people are going separate ways and I'm good with it. But let me tell you what I have to do, because mine is a little bit different. So I have to accept that sometimes God puts people in your life and it may be a little messy. It may be a little, hard to flow and follow, but they're supposed to be in your life. Prime example, my husband, we've been married to each other twice. And I did not choose the second marriage. Like, God was like, marry him. What? You know what I went through first time? Marry him. And I did it. And anytime since then that, I have wanted to separate. I'm like, oh no, this is too much. I can't do it. Da 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 da. We might separate for a minute, but God brings us right back together. Do you know what that tells me? I'm supposed to be with this man, because it's not that I just want to do it. Because even when I don't want to do it, God brings us back together. We have destiny together. That means that we got to work through the stuff we got to work through. We got to figure it out. We got to make it happen. We got to make it work. And you may be in that position. So whether it's a matter of throwing some people overboard or figuring out how do I adjust so that the people who are supposed to be in my life for destiny are able to stay there. They're able to be in the position that God has created them to be in. I know I'm supposed to be with my husband. There was a time when I didn't. There was a time when I was like, oh, no, I'm not. No, God wouldn't do this. But now I know I'm supposed to be here. So that means it's on me to do everything in my power to make sure that I build the relationship that God needs it to be for us to get to our destiny. It's doable. So today I want you guys to keep this affirmation in mind. Today's affirmation is simple. God will reveal who is supposed to be on my ship right now. I will be connected to the right people at the right time. I will remove those who are not supposed to be on my journey and release them to their journey. I am willing to release them to their purpose and myself to my purpose. I am in place. I am blessed. I am a blessing to others. Release. Today, make release your goal. I love you guys to life and life more abundant. You're going to have the weekend to go through days 5 and 6. I won't be doing lives on those days, but I will be posting in the group. So you guys just know that this journey is yours and it's time for you to take full control of it. I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Mwah! Be blessed.